Hello, my name is Jason Louie. My integrative studies capstone thesis is on should there be a ban-the-box initiative in the state of Texas. For hundreds and thousands of ex-felons trying to get their lives together and again become a contributing member of society, getting a job is pretty high on the importance list. However, a high percentage of applicants are immediately turned away and denied second chance even before they begin. It's estimated that between 70 million and 100 million Americans have some sort of criminal record. Now, this can range anywhere from a misdemeanor offense to a felony offense. And thanks to today's technology and the internet, any criminal record can now become potential roadblock towards gainful employment, establishing credit, or even getting public assistance. Temporary punishments have now become lifetime stigmas for many. And with the inability to acclimate back into the society, many ex-offenders have become another recidivism statistic. Now, this is where ban-the-box initiatives come into play. Such initiatives are currently in 25 states and 150 cities nationwide. Now, it begs the question, if these are such great programs designed to help and rehabilitate, why is this not in the state of Texas? So far, Austin, Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio have introduced laws prohibiting private employers from asking about criminal background questions until the job offer is made. Now, recent introduction of House Bill 577 will tackle the statewide question. Now, there is not an easy answer. As with any question that's not easy to answer, the solution needs to come from research from several different fields and disciplines. Being a hiring ordinance, we will examine the question from the point of view of the Human Resource Department, the company or management standpoint, and lastly, from those who are in the field trying to help those ex-felons throughout their rehabilitation. Now, during the early parts of the interview process, job seekers often are faced with questions as to whether they have been convicted of a crime or not. Now, because organizations today conduct criminal background checks, it forces applicants to respond truthfully. The primary goal of the employee screening process is to mitigate the risk and fraud, from criminal activity by its employees, also to protect itself from negligent hiring lawsuits, or to avoid employing persons of poor character, skill, and work ethic. In addition to several nationwide and statewide laws preventing those from criminal backgrounds to even being considered for several positions. Now, this job problem has been long concerning for policymakers, activists, employers, and applicants alike because it's harder for convicts to find gainful employment, which may increase the rates of recidivism and reduce productivity of these employers. Now, in Texas, as in many states, employers are faced with the decision whether to implement these types of questions into the applicant process. Now, if passed, again, House Bill 577 would prohibit private employers from asking questions of applicants about their prior convictions until after the hiring process has been completed. Now, this is a good thing, or are there other alternatives? Now, this paper will, of course, discuss and weigh in on the options facing ban the box as well as recidivism. Now, the topic of ban the box is a complex one with many different facets involved. And due to the focus on recidivism and the employment rates by the government and activists alike, we are forced to lean on many different disciplines who will be involved in the eventual solution to this wicked problem. That being said, there are several reasons why this approach to this topic needs to be and has to come from an interdisciplinary approach. We know that one discipline will not adequately answer the problems of increasing employment rates as well as decreasing the recidivism rates. The disciplines that are going to be focused on are organizational leadership, human resources and development, as well as addictive disorders and research studies. We will explore the sides of both the policymakers, the employers, as well as those trying to help the applicants get their jobs. We will attempt to, of course, resolve the complexity of ban the box and deal with the effects as well. Human resources will examine the training that the facilities and staff will need to go through if the ban the box laws go into effect and are put into place. From the organizational leadership standpoint, we'll look at the law from the perspective of the management and the employees and what they have to implement and establish as far as laws for their employees. And lastly, again, the addictive disorders and research studies discipline will look at the applicant and what they need to go through in order to get a job and become a productive citizen again, as well as how the activists have gone from bringing change into laws across the nation and hopefully here within the state of Texas. Now, since the initiative has begun in effect, some areas such as Hawaii back in the early 90s, we have ample information from both sides of the question. Also, since we have 4 major cities that have implemented ban the box in the hiring process, we also have the opportunity to study the effects of the initiatives locally as well. Now, I have found that the information that was gathered from the human resource was primarily facts about the current laws, what the companies are doing to implement these changes. The information that I found in regards to the organizational leadership discipline was geared towards the idea that there are both positive and negative effects of the policy. As far as the aside from the addictive disorders and research studies discipline, most has been results that have come from states and cities that have implemented ban the box. Now, because it is a new topic and discussions, there's still much research that needs to go into the law, as well as research into the consequences that may arise as well. Now, with any new law, ban the box or House Bill 577 in Texas comes with both its proponents and its opponents. If approved, the ban the box could go into effect in Texas as early as September of this year. And there has already been, of course, a flood of opinions coming from both sides. Although everyone has an opinion, we of course need to focus not only on the employer, but also the applicant or ex-felon as well as the local community, because it is something that affects everyone. As stated, this is a complex issue, and therefore it's going to require input from multiple disciplines to find an appropriate result. Now, my research has found that we need to not only look at ban the box legislation in order to give the applicants a shot at getting a second chance, but also look at providing ex-felons with the life skills and tools necessary to compete for jobs that they were once not allowed to get. Paying for training, after all, I feel is better than paying for more jails. And now we are just, of course, in the beginning and just of seeing the rates and statistics coming back from the initial ban the box laws that were established back in Hawaii in the early 90s. Now, some of the research has been pointing to the fact that ban the box laws are actually hurting rather than helping the applicants, which was definitely not an intention when implemented. More research definitely needs to go into the laws and possibly other avenues explored to assist in even increasing recidivism rate in the United States. Ultimately, what this is about is getting the ex-convict the job, and of course the first step to acclimating these first ex-felons back into society. Now, besides ban the box laws, which offer fair chance to all qualified applicants, maybe again we need to look at other programs we can implement so that ex-convicts who are qualified to enter the workforce can and will enter the workforce when they get out of jail. For every ex-felon offender who we successfully re-enter into the work world, of course, there is one less person who's consuming expensive resources that is a drain on taxpayers. For this reason alone, I feel that ban the box should be a welcome law into the state of Texas. ban the box, if it works, can benefit the ex-offender, cities, and society as a whole. And even more importantly, the ban the box movement is an example that people can and do change, and that second chances are a smart investment in our society.